Hello and welcome to Bentley Urban Farm, where we are here today with a variety of incredible women, and we are celebrating a special one-off web event for International Women's Day.
So the tradition of International Women's Day has been celebrated for over a century, and we're hoping to continue that today by celebrating, appreciating and uplifting local women from our community. My name's Olivia Jones.
And I'm Becky Hackney. So first up, we're going to be speaking to Corinne Adamson, who is a local nurse in Doncaster, and obviously the NHS has been under extreme pressure over the past 12 months due to the global pandemic, which is coronavirus.
Yeah. Corinne's been working on the front lines and is here today to talk to us about her experience, vaccinations and low uptake. So, first of all, how are you doing?
I'm all right, thank you.
Good, good, not too bad.
Talking to me.
No, it's okay.
I think the vaccinations for a lot of people are a bit of hope. It's like you were looking to come in near to the end, but then other people, there's a lot of concerns, and really one of the reasons you're here today is to provide a little bit of clarity on why maybe they are safe and get rid of some of those myths of what's going on.
For sure, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, the thing, like you say at the moment, because this has been going on for like a year now, everyone's just fed up. And you can understand why, but it's been completely necessary. The lockdowns have been necessary. We've slowed the spread, and it's been a necessary evil. But the vaccines give us a chance of things changing now and give us hope. I mean, even with the new roadmap set out and the idea that by June we might be able to have some sort of normality back, and that's down to the vaccines and down to the fact that people are taking it and that it is being administered so well in the country at the moment. And it gives us just a bit of light at the end of the tunnel, really.
Yeah. So I think some people who are undecided as to whether or not they're going to be getting the vaccinations, they would probably ask, they maybe feel that it's unsafe. So maybe is it safe, and why should they have it?
Oh, absolutely. It's been tested as much as any other vaccine. It's been a quick rollout. It's been very quickly brought into the market, but that's because the entire world, every health organisation has been working on this vaccine tirelessly. All the money that you can imagine has been put into this because it was necessary, it was needed. We were fighting something that we didn't know anything about and didn't really know how severe it was going to be until it actually hit us. So it's gone through as much testing as everything else would usually, but just with less time.
Yeah.
It's been tested as thoroughly, but it's just being put through a lot faster.
Well, yeah, because it affects everyone.
It's not had to hit as many speed bumps along the way. It's not had to look for participants in trials as difficult as it would have usually been. It's not had to find funding because it's just been available.
Yeah.
But it has been tested. It's been tested thoroughly. It's met all the regulations that it needs to meet. It's completely safe. And it's continued to be tested now. The government is still looking at adverse reactions, if anything was to come of it, but so far there is nothing to suggest that this vaccine isn't safe. And like we say, it is at the moment the best chance that we've got for giving us some sort of normality back.
Yeah.
And it's what we need at the moment.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think I've actually had the first dose now, but before getting it I was really nervous because it was like there was a lot of stuff going around about fertility and how it might affect fertility. Like, is that true?
No, there's no evidence to suggest that it affects fertility in men or women at all. So I think that in this day and age, social media especially has got a lot to answer for when it comes to things like that, and misinformation and things being spread about to make people nervous. And we're going to be nervous. This is something that we've never had to deal with before in any of our lifetimes. We've not had to deal with a global pandemic, and we've never had to deal with mass vaccinations that have come out of nowhere and lockdowns, and people are going to be scared. And a lot of the time, these theories and falsehoods that come out on the internet and social media, they prey on that fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a real shame that that happens, because it might put people off having the vaccine who otherwise could really benefit from it. Even if it's not for them, it's for those around them that, you know, who could benefit from them having it.
Yeah.
But there's no evidence at all to suggest that it affects fertility in men or women at the moment.
That's really good.
Yeah, because I think, especially going on to sort of talking about social media, Facebook is where you see a lot of the sort of conspiracy theories. You see things about, is it like a thalidomide?
Yes.
Yeah, and like the Bill Gates is microchipping us and all kinds of things like that. And I do feel like social media has definitely had a lot to sort of answer for in terms of like scaremongering.
Absolutely. So thalidomide was an anti-nausea drug, I believe, that was brought out in the 50s.
Yeah.
And so first of all, it wasn't even a vaccine. It was an anti-nausea medication that was rolled out. And what we've got to remember is then testing regulations weren't as stringent. Things weren't as advanced as they are now. So yes, mistakes were made with thalidomide, but the science community has learnt from that and moved forward, and more regulations and testing has been put into place because of things like that to make things like vaccinations safer.
Yeah.
And the microchipping thing.
Where do you start?
It's honestly, it's one of my favourite things. When I've spent a lot of time looking at conspiracy theories and things like that, because I do find it very interesting. I think everybody should have an opinion. It's great. However, if those opinions can be harmful to other people, then, you know, social media can be the worst place for it when it comes to sharing them around. And sometimes what will happen is a small part of information will be cherry picked from somewhere and then made into something else.
Yeah.
So I think that the microchipping thing originally came from, there was the Bill Gates Foundation had suggested something to do with like not microchipping even, but scanning things that you could put under your skin for years ago. And then somebody had latched onto that and gone, there's going to be microchips in these vaccines, and it's just grown from there.
It's actually impossible to do, because you get 6 doses, don't you, from each vial of the vaccination, so it'd be impossible to make sure that you got 6 individual microchips for each dose.
There's a lot to it.
And it's also it's people with a mobile phone, it's people with GPS following them around all day every day. It's like you've already they've already got the ability.
Microchip. You carry it, it's not inside it.
You're going to check in on Facebook as soon as you go to this restaurant. It doesn't really make a difference.
Like if somebody wants to find you, they're going to find you. They're watching you already. They don't need to put it in a vaccine.
That's it. But Facebook and social media has just perpetuated these things. And I think it has latched on to fear and perpetuated it. And that's a real shame.
Yeah, because like you said, the result of that is that people who really need it are then scared of getting it and may choose not to take the vaccine because of this.
Yeah.
But how's it been for you? So working through the pandemic, like, because you've got
2 kids, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got 2 sons. It's been frightening, especially at the beginning. There was a lot of nurses who were very frightened. I mean, to date, the latest research shows that 850 health workers have died from COVID. I mean, just locally, at my trust, I know 3 of our workmates have passed away from COVID, and it's a frightening prospect when you're seeing people around you that you work with get ill and you're still having to go into that environment.
Yeah.
And as a mother as well, you're wondering what you're taking home.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, I was stripping off in the doorway of my house, literally changing completely. So I'd change at work, get home, change again in the doorway, and then shower before I even went near my kids, because I was just scared about what was on my skin, what was on my clothes. And a lot of us were feeling the same way. It was frightening. There was nurses, it wasn't even just myself, who were writing messages to their children in the event that anything was to happen to them.
Oh God.
In this situation, because obviously we weren't to know how severe it was going to be, but we carried on, and we were going to carry on no matter what.
Yeah.
Because the people that we're caring for is somebody else's mum. It's somebody else's brother or sister or son or daughter. It's still somebody who's important, and we keep going into those situations even though we didn't know if we were going to come out of it. And I really did think that was amazing to see from a lot of my co-workers, especially those that were in the wards that were really seriously affected by it. But it was hard. It was
I can imagine.
It has been hard. It's got better because of the measures that have taken place, and because infection rates are hopefully, by the looks of things, slowing at the moment. But it's still a really frightening prospect. As soon as that vaccine became available, I was one of the first in line. I had it back in December. I'm due for my second dose of the Pfizer vaccine coming up, because there was nothing going to stop me from getting that.
No. Of course,
The effects of COVID long term that we're seeing even now, and that we're yet to see, outweigh any possible risks that anybody could tell me that there might be from this vaccination, because we are seeing some horrible things and some really poorly people who are still struggling now with the after effects. And I don't just mean,
long COVID.
Long COVID in 80-odd-year-old people, which is still important. I mean 20-odd-year-old, usually fit and well individuals who are now feeling the result of it months down the line. And it's been terrifying, and we don't know still what effect it could have on children going forward, and if these strains were to mutate, if it would start to affect the kids as well. So
And so the vaccination, it does, it's, as far as we know, it does work on any new strains. It's still effective.
At the moment, yes, as far as we're aware, it still works on the current strains that are out there. There's no evidence to suggest otherwise. So the benefits still outweigh that risk. I mean, I'm not a vaccine expert. I just know I know enough.
Of course.
To know that it's safe, and I've got a good enough knowledge of science to understand how these things work. And that they are well researched and well looked into. But we just have to look forward to the light at the end of the tunnel now, and try and think, yes, it's starting to ease up, but it's not a reason to sort of
slow down and
stop. Well, this is actually what I was going to ask next. What advice have you got for everyone, as the restrictions are being lifted, as we've got this roadmap now? What would you say that we need to keep doing?
Just be cautious still. Obviously things can change very quickly. We've got something to look forward to. We've got the vaccine rollout happening, which is wonderful. Rates are slowing. We've got an idea of the future now, without lockdowns and without, everything that's going on at the moment. But still, be cautious. Wear masks, social distance where possible. Wash your hands. Just carry on being careful. We're not quite there yet. But we're getting there. And if you are eligible for the vaccine, when it is your time to be called, go and get the vaccine. It's nothing to be afraid of. It's just a bit of a sore arm for a bit if you're unlucky.
But the vaccine, it's free. You don't need an NHS number to get one.
No.
You can get it wherever. And for anybody from the Muslim community, it's also halal. There's no animal or human byproducts inside of it.
There is none at all. There's no gelatin in them. There's no meat products in them. They are completely halal and
That's
safe.
incredible, isn't it?
It's actually really impressive when you learn about the science behind the vaccinations and how it works, because it's different to normal vaccines, isn't it?
So this vaccine, the one that's being used mostly at the moment, is an mRNA vaccine. So it's a messenger protein basically that goes into the cell and gives your cells information on how to fight the virus.
Yeah.
So usually when you get an infection, your body learns how to fight it because it's left with the residual information from it, fights it when it comes along next time. So this time the mRNA vaccine comes along, gives your body the information so that it can program these cells.
Yeah.
Sort of gone around in a circle there, but you know, it gives the body the protein that's completely harmless, and then it knows how to fight it off if it does come into contact with the virus.
Yeah.
That's great.
A lot of people, and one of the conspiracy theories that's coming around is that it alters your DNA, but it doesn't, just because it's got RNA in the name of it doesn't mean it alters your DNA. It just means that's what sort of vaccine it is.
Well, I think that's all we've got time for, but thank you so much for coming in and sort of talking about your experiences, and I appreciate that it's, you know, a tough topic to talk about, but you know, and all the information that you've provided for us.
Reassuring.
Yeah, I would say so. But yeah, it's been fantastic having you. Lovely to meet you.
And you, thank you for having me.
Brilliant. So now we're going to head over to the Willow Dome. Well, we've got Rachel, who is the co-founder of Doncaster and the Urban Farm, and is also a trainee art therapist for St John's Hospice. And Rachel's going to be doing some arts and crafts for us today. So over to you, Rachel.
So today we're going to have a go at making one of these lovely 3D paper flowers, and we're going to take 6 squares that are 5 centimetres by 5 centimetres and turn them into this gorgeous 3D flower. Okay, so over here, what do we need? We need some scissors to cut out your squares. Obviously mine are already cut out, but they're just 5 centimetres by 5 centimetres. We've got this glue. You can use Pritt Stick, PVA. This is quite like a stringy glue, so it's actually not the best, but any craft glue that will glue paper quickly is a good glue to use for this. I've got these really cute little pegs. These help with some of the gluing that I'm going to do later on. And we also need a larger piece of paper, about A4 size, to make the stem. So there you go, that's the stem. So I'll show you how to make one of these later. So once you've cut out your squares, first thing you need to do is start folding them in half. I feel like a children's TV presenter right now. So we're going to turn our squares into triangles, and then we're going to turn them into smaller triangles by folding them in half again. So it doesn't actually take that much folding to make these flowers, because what we're going to actually do is make 6 petals. So that's your 6 petals. So once you fold it in half, open it up. Then we're going to take the bottom of our triangle and fold it up to the top. Like that. And then we're going to do the same at the other side. So once you've got this square like that, you open it up and fold it up to the next. Right, I'm going to get a pencil. This will make it easier. So you might not be able to see, but there's a fold there that you've just created. So you're going to take the end and you're going to fold it up to that line, and you're going to do the same on the other side, and I'm just going to mark it so you can see. So that's the fold that we've just made, but you can't really see it, so we're going to fold it up to the top there, like that. And we say it looks like a little hat, this. It's like a little hat. Okay, so when you've got to your little hat stage, what you do is, and this is probably the hardest bit of it all, you open it up again and you take that corner and you point it up to the sky. So it's like a little sail. And then we're going to make a pocket, which sounds quite complicated, but actually what you're doing is you're going to open up that fold and push it down. And it creates like a kite shape. Okay, so I'm going to do that on the other side. So I'm going to open it up, get that corner, point it up to the sky, like that. And then I'm going to open it up like a little pocket and push it down, like that. Okay, so it should, end result should look like that. So then we're going to take the tops of our kites, which is like a little triangle, and we're going to fold it down like that. Oh, I've not done it quite symmetrical. There we go. And we're going to do the same on the other side. Okay, so you're going to have something that looks like that. And now we're going to fold this corner over that corner, and the same on the other side. So we've got something that looks like that. And now we're going to do a bit of glue in. So this is quite a runny glue. Pritt Stick or other paper glues are great. This might go everywhere, I hope it doesn't. So there we go, a bit of glue. My dog's like burrowing in the leaves. And you glue it together like that. And this is going to make your first petal. Okay. And I'm going to use these little pegs to just hold the petal together while it dries. There we go. So we're going to make 6 of these. So what you want to do is when the petals have glued, you just want to make sure that like you can open it up and there's like 3 little folds in there, and that these aren't stuck to the side. Like you don't want your glue to have kind of like seeped out everywhere and everything stuck together. You want it to be like a nice shape like that. A nice petal shape. Ta-da! So we're making 6 of these. So I'm going to get this one glued, and then I'm going to make all 6 petals. So I'm going to have 3 in the pink and 3 in the gold. So we've just been letting our little petals dry, so now we're going to assemble them. So we've got the 6 little petals here. So what we're going to do is we're going to glue them in a specific place. So the place we're going to glue is aligned to where those little white bits are there. So this is the gluing bit. You don't want to glue there because you're going to stick your petals together. So get some glue. And because I've just remembered, because I am actually doing these in different colour order, I'm going to do 1 gold, 1 pink, and I'm going to glue them together like that. And I'm going to do, the next one's going to be gold, and then pink. So I'm going to glue them together. So they're going to be like alternated colours. Alternating colours. Didn't say that quite right. So they're going to get glued together. Okay, actually, whilst they're drying, I'll do the rolling. I'll make the stem, should I say. Do the rolling. I don't know what I meant by that. Who knows? Okay, so I'm going to give myself a bit more space. I've already made a lovely stem for my flower to sit on. But I'm going to just show you how to make one out of this sheet of paper. So this is like 3/4 of A4. You can use A4. size. This is just a little bit smaller and a little bit longer. And all you're going to do is you're going to get one of the corners and you're going to start rolling it really tightly and just roll in the paper. And what happens is as you gradually roll it, it kind of builds momentum and it gets more circular. And it's amazing how like strong this structure is when you've applied this pressure. So you've got to kind of keep it even. Okay, so we've got a little triangle bit left at the bottom. And I'm just going to put some of this glue on. And this glue is a little bit runny and splodgy, so you are going to see it go everywhere now. This is not good. You don't want glue everywhere. This is why Pritt Stick or something like that is better. So I'm going to get the craft glue on my hands, which is not great. Oh. But there we go, we have a stem. And it's as easy as that. I'm going to go back to making the flower shape now. Yeah, so now we're going to assemble our little duos of petals into like one big mega flower by stacking them together. And it's almost like we're going to do this like concertina thing. So we're going to stack them together like that, nice and neatly. And we'll glue them. And once they're glued, we will have our flower. Hopefully. Okay, so same again, you're gluing it down that bottom part. Down there. So there we go, we've got like this little concertina of flower petals. And this is just going to dry. My glue takes about 10 minutes to dry. Some glues dry quicker. Yeah, so I'll just leave them to dry. We're now in the polytunnel because it's been raining outside, but our petals have dried. So we've got 6 petals here together. And what we're going to do now is we're going to open them up. We're going to glue them. Yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to glue it together here. So that just needs to dry. And then we've just got to attach our stem. So here's the flower, it is complete. It did get a little bit damp in the rain, but it's ready to go. And the last stage is assembling it to our stem. So I will show you a bit more closely. So what we're going to do is put plenty of glue on that side and attach it and hold it. So I'm just going to hold that in place. So there you go, there's your flower. Enjoy making it. Thanks for inviting me today, and you can follow me on Instagram. I'm Rachel Horn. And there you go, enjoy.
Thanks so much, Rachel. Now we're heading over to Nyla, who is going to show us how to make some tasty pakoras.
Okay, so we're making some pakoras. So I've got some a cup of chopped onions, finely chopped, some finely cut potatoes, same of spinach, to that I'm going to add some about 1.5 teaspoons of salt, some grated ginger and some garlic, some pureed garlic and some coriander, some fresh coriander. Give that a mix. going to add some ground coriander, about 1.5 teaspoons of each of garam masala. We have some cumin seeds, and then we have a few chili flakes just to taste. Make that as hot as you like. Give that a good mix. Add some gram flour to this, which is chickpea flour, and it's gluten-free. I'm just putting in just a little bit of water just to bring the batter together. Now we're just ready to fry them. Right, I'm just making a dip, sort of to go with the pakoras. So we've got some yogurt, just give that a good mix to sort of loosen it. I've got a little bit of mint sauce here, add some of that to it. I've got some chopped cherry tomatoes and red onion. A little bit of ground coriander, just a little pinch. A bit of smoked paprika. And that's to serve with your pakoras. There you go. So then you wait till your oil is nice and hot and add spoonfuls of the mixture. As soon as they've cooked, there you go. So you can just serve it with some salad. There you go. And some of the sauce. There you go, that's a lovely snack, and they're fantastic, stuffed into some pita breads with some garlic sauce or even ketchup. There you go. And that's your pakoras.
Thanks so much for that, Neela. They look absolutely amazing. I can't wait to try them.
Okay, so one of the reasons that we're here today was that we wanted to raise awareness and money for two fantastic organisations based in Doncaster. The first being Doncaster Food Bank and the second being Phoenix Women's Aid. Phoenix Women's Aid supports local people who have tried to sort of escape from domestic violence and abusive relationships. Now, here with us today we have Aisha, who is talking about her experiences not only as a woman who's escaped a domestic violence relationship, but also as a Muslim woman who's been through the systems and, you know, wants to talk about the sort of stigma and the pressure that comes with that. So, hi, how are you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Good, good, thank you. So first of all then, so Aisha's also taken part in a local council meeting that we had the other day for International Women's Day, and you were fantastic. You were so brave, and you're talking about your experiences. Would you say that you're maybe a bit more of an advocate for sort of helping within the services and trying to improve?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like my experience just with like Doncaster Council and the services that they provide, especially for women and vulnerable children, really helped me sort of get the head start that I needed, and also helped me walk away from the abuse that I was suffering. So I feel like these services really need to be there because we actually don't realise it, but many women do need these services.
Yeah.
So if they're not there, then where are these women supposed to turn to?
Exactly. And when you were talking about it in the council meeting, I think you were sort of really strong on the fact that yes, there were sort of negative experiences that you had, but you also talked about the positives.
Yeah, of course. I mean, no service is going to be perfect, so you know, there's always work to do, but we have to commend the fact that the services are there. Yeah. And I feel like knowledge needs to be given to other people where they know that there is help if they need it, and if there isn't, you know, like I said, it's just going to sorry.
It's okay, no, you're doing great.
Yeah, so I think if the services are not there, people will then I'm just going blank. I'm so sorry.
It's okay, totally.
It's all right. So what sort of support do the services provide? So what sort of things did they do that helped you in your situation?
Yeah, so in my particular situation, it was you're assigned a key worker, and so you're working side by side along somebody who's able to give you help in all the aspects. So whether that's housing, you know, if you need help financially, maybe there's decisions that need to be made and you're not sure, so they'll provide you with the right services, you know, who'll be able to give you the best advice. And just having that there and having that available literally changes lives, because people are then able to make the right choices for themselves and then move forward. So if that wasn't there, you know, it would be really difficult for somebody to know what's available and what their options are.
I suppose it's quite nice as well having someone who is just working with you, because they can get to know you, they know they're following you through this journey rather than starting that process each time with somebody different.
Yeah, definitely. So whoever you're working alongside knows your experience, knows the highs and lows that you may be experiencing, and so that definitely does help towards making you a lot more confident, knowing that you've got that one-to-one support.
Yeah. And these are so important as well, aren't they? Because so from my understanding is that over the last few years there've actually been a lot of budget cuts, because I think there used to be 4, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe there used to be 4 services, and now I think it's gone down to 2 and potentially 3. So it is really important, because I feel like you need to have one person working alongside you so that you're not sort of being missed in the system.
Yeah, definitely.
And so as well as talking to you, we spoke to another Muslim woman, Farhat, and she was saying that she was placed in a predominantly white area, and she said that she felt quite isolated because she felt like there wasn't anybody from the Muslim community that she could speak to. Is your experience been similar to that? Or I'm going to ask that question again. Do you feel like your experience has been similar to hers, or?
In some regards, I did have a very similar experience in terms of obviously religious and cultural values that you have. They're not necessarily totally understood. So, for example, within the service, Muslims eat halal, and so making sure that those foods are available was really important. So I was, for example, given a can of sausages. Not necessarily going to be able to feed that to me or my children. Again, so the service is there, it's just being able to sort of tweak those services to just make them a lot more accessible. And it is difficult when you are a minority, because you're not necessarily going to have other people. You're not going to be able to open up to other people,
of course.
because you're first going to have to start from scratch, saying, okay, this is what my cultural beliefs are, make the person fully aware of that, then be able to talk about your situation and where the problems are. So, for example, the other woman that you're talking about and myself, we weren't able to fully express the concerns that we had, or sometimes we did feel like it wasn't taken as seriously because of the cultural gap. So I do feel like that is a little bit of a requirement, that we need to have other people within the service who are able to sort of close the gap between the culture.
It's like the fine tuning, isn't it? So was your key worker, was she someone who was familiar with your culture? And
not necessarily, but because of the number of cases that they've worked on, there was a little bit of an understanding. So for example, within my culture, there's a whole concept of honour and shame. So they were very sympathetic towards that. So it does help. But then when you have, for example, language barriers or even cultural barriers, you don't feel like your plea is taken as seriously.
Definitely.
Than somebody who would be able to do that.
Yeah, communication becomes difficult, doesn't it? It's like expressing those needs, and sometimes people aren't always familiar with it, can't grasp it as well.
So following on from the council meeting the other day, and this is something that we've spoken about off camera, the council are actually looking to investigate sort of these issues where women from different cultural backgrounds are maybe being missed or lost in the grey areas, which is a really, really positive change. And I think that's probably due to the fact that, you know, it's someone like yourself who came in and spoke about her experience so articulately and so bravely. Would you sort of give any advice to other women who are going through something similar?
Yeah, be brave and be courageous. End of the day, it's your life, and you have to make the right decisions for yourself. And especially if there's, for example, children involved, you have to make the best decision. You want to be the best role model that you can be for them. So I feel like people shouldn't be afraid, and to just make the best. If you know you're doing the right thing for yourself, make the decisions that need to be done. And the help is there if you need it.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, and I think there is potentially like a stigma around the experiences of women who have, you know, escaped abuse or domestic violence relationships, and I think we have to sort of challenge ourselves to change how we react to that, because I think a lot of women that I've spoken to outside of this have said that, you know, people ask them, why did you stay in that relationship? And we shouldn't be asking people why they stayed. We should be asking the abusers why they made it so that someone couldn't leave. So yeah, I mean, did you find that there was any stigma for yourself?
Oh, of course.
Really?
Especially from our cultural background, it's just not the done thing. So I'm probably amongst the minority in terms of the decisions I had to make. But and I feel that's why I feel like we have to be the voice to advocate for that change. And so I feel like if one person takes a step in the right direction, you're only helping many others along the way. So sometimes you maybe, for example, like Farah and myself, maybe we may be the first women amongst our community to make that change, but I feel like then it gives the courage for other women to follow suit. Not that I'm advocating for families to break, but if you're in a situation where you're being abused or life becomes unbearable, no one has a right to live like that. Every person has a right to make the right decisions for themselves, to live a happy life. And so these services are there to just kind of make that journey easy, because at the end of the day it's the journey you're going to make, and it's a very tough journey, but if you know that it's going to help you in the long run and it's going to help change your life, use the services and do what's right for yourself and your children.
And it's important to recognise the strength that somebody needs to put together to enable to do that, because it's not easy. It's like you come in and you've spoken about it as if it was just, you know, you just did it, but there's actually so much strength behind that.
It's such a difficult decision to make. You have to go through that journey if you know that that's what's going to bring you out at the other end. And so you know, I think that people should try their best to look at their situations and make the decisions that need to be done.
All right, amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
I really appreciate you know, being so brave and speaking about your experiences and sharing that with us. As we say, we are raising money today for Doncaster Food Bank and for Phoenix Women's Aid. So if you go to the GoFundMe page, and anything that you could donate would be greatly appreciated.
Okay, so next up we're going to be getting out of this rain and we're going to go to the polytunnel, where Dolly will be reading us a children's story called Am I Enough?
Good afternoon. My name is Dolly Agoro, and I'm the CEO of Motherline Legal Services, My Godly Spouse Limited and BME United Doncaster, advocating for the rights of minorities in Doncaster. I'm equally the chair of the Inclusion and Fairness Forum, a part of Team Doncaster in Doncaster. This afternoon I'll be reading through a book titled I Am Enough by Grace Byers and pictured by Ketura A. Bobo. Like the sun, I'm here to shine. Like the voice, I'm here to sing. Like the bird, I'm here to fly and soar high over everything. Like the trees, I'm here to grow. Like the mountains, here to stand. Like time, I'm here to be and be everything I can. Like the champ, I'm here to fight. Like the heart, I'm here to love. Like a ladder, here to climb, and like the hair, to rise above. Like the wind, I'm here to push. Like a rope, I'm here to pull. Like the rain, I'm here to pour and drip and fall until I'm full. Like the moon, I'm here to dream. Like the student, here to learn. Like the water, here to swell. Like the fire, here to burn. Like the winner, I'm here to win. And if I don't, get up again. I know that I may sometimes cry, but even then, I'm here to try. I'm not meant to be like you. You're not meant to be like me. Sometimes we will get along, and sometimes we will disagree. I know that we don't look the same. Our skin, our eyes, our hair, our frame. But that does not dictate our worth. We both have places here on earth. And in the end, we are right here to live a life of love and not fear. To help each other when it's tough. To say together, I am enough. And that is the end of the story. It's such a beautiful story. And I believe every one of us is enough. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you so much for that, Dolly. That was absolutely fantastic. So coming up after the break, we've got so much more for you. We've got a Pilates class, we've got a Dragony yarn, and we've got a special performance from Rumby Taro performing her latest single, Bloodline. So stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Kelly. I've lived in Doncaster my whole life, and I am the owner of Candles and Coffee. I run the business completely on my own, and I make cute little decorative candles like these. Yeah, it's been really gaining popularity at the moment. I think people are trying to invest more in self-care and making the home environment like nicer. So yeah, that's what I get up to. Thank you so much for listening.
Hi, I'm Sia Theopistu and I'm the owner of Moods the Label. I'm 18 and I live in Doncaster. My mission at Moods is to help all girls feel expensive in whatever clothes they're wearing. With Moods, I want all girls to feel confident. I hand design all my clothes in the UK here at home, and I want to use my platform to help girls be successful and feel successful.
Hi, I'm Laura and I own Fired Fusion Glass Design. This is my home studio. I'm currently working on a couple of projects. I make fused glass decorations, ornaments, gifts, personalised items, and I take on commission work too. I can also incorporate ashes into glass art as pieces to remember loved ones by. Pretty soon I'm going to be opening up the studio and doing fused glass parties and workshops. So please follow me on Instagram or Facebook. It's Fired Fusion Glass Design. Hope to see you soon.
Hi everyone, my name is Katie, otherwise known as the Serenity Life Coach. I specialise in transition coaching, confidence coaching and mindfulness. The aim of my business is to make sure that people don't become invisible to themselves and in turn not invisible to the outside world. You can follow me on Facebook or Instagram if you want to get in touch, but otherwise take care and be kind.
Hi, it's Hannah from Dream Bakes in Doncaster, one half of the mother-daughter team that run Dream Bakes in Doncaster Town Centre. And we wanted to bring really good quality handmade cakes, bakes and savouries to you all. So we make everything as much as we can in-house and then everything else is locally sourced. We put lots of thought into our food, sometimes with a little bit of a twist, and we guarantee that you will not be able to find better coffee in Doncaster than what we've got.
Hi, I'm Joy from Joy Gibbs Price Ceramics. I'm based up here in Everton in the pottery. I'm a potter, as you can see from behind. This is some of my work, making mainly functional ware, mugs, cups, plates, but also non-functional ware, more decorative ware and sculptural objects. I also run classes 6 times a week for people to come and learn to work with the material. Quite relaxed, informal, friendly classes. There's a cafe on site, so quite often people come and spend a morning here or an afternoon here. If you want to check out the classes or any of my work, if you look at joygibbsprice.co.uk or I'm on Instagram, Joy Gibbs Price Ceramics. Thank you very much. Bye.
Welcome back, thank you so much for joining us. So just again, the reason that I wanted to have today this special event is to raise money for 2 fantastic organisations based in Doncaster, the first being Doncaster Food Bank and the second being Phoenix Women's Aid. So we have set up a GoFundMe, hopefully to raise some money for them both, and that will be available on everyone involved's Instagram and social media, so if you just go and have a little click if you fancy donating. So also it was really important to us to use this opportunity to support local business women, so every single ad that you saw in the ad break is someone who is based here in Doncaster if you fancy supporting them as well. We'd also like to give a special shout out to Wild Botanicals who donated the flowers that you see here on our coffee table today, and also to Joyce Gibb Price at the Pottery in Everton for donating all of the ceramic mugs that you'll also see today. Thank you guys.
Hi, so I'm Caitlin and you are going to join me for a really quick 10 minutes Pilates flow. So it's going to be more like power Pilates because I'm going to do it a bit quicker than I would do it in class, so I can show you a little bit more of what we can do. So it's going to be about an intermediate level, so anybody can come to these classes. With Pilates, I don't know if you've done it before, but it's all about strength, control and like a mind-body connection, which is all stuff that we all really want to be able to do. So I'm going to start on my feet. I'm quickly just going to warm up through the body and then we'll go into some exercises going straight from one to the next to the next. But normally I'd include a couple of nice release stretches, a little bit more in-depth demonstrations. So don't think this is exactly what classes are like because that might put you off a little bit. So I'm going to start with my feet hip width apart. So you want to have the bony bits of your hips over the big toe, soft knees, shoulders back and down, space between the ears and the shoulders. And we're just going to take a few deep breaths because breathing is really important with anything yoga, Pilates. It's like the powerhouse of your movement. So we're going to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Just try and relax everything. Just focus on how that breath feels, filling the lungs, trying to keep it away from the bellies because this is going to stay nice and tight and switched on. So we want to really breathe into the lungs, into the sides. So in through the nose and out through the mouth. Just focus on how that feels. Let anything else that's on your mind just ping away. And again. Just focus on how your body feels. Make sure nothing's too tense. And we're just going to slowly move to the end of the mat where we're going to go through a little warm-up sequence. So we're going to really reach towards the sky. As we go up, you're going to extend through the spine, reach as tall as you can go. Find prayer position with the hands. Bring the hands down through center. Follow the line of the nose with the eyes. And relax the head, relax the arms. We're going to go through a full roll down of the spine, keeping soft knees, arms and head heavy. Once you feel that stretch down the hamstrings, you're going to come to a stop. You're going to give the head a little bit of a nod, and then a little bit of a shake, as if you're saying no. And just feel that stretch moving around. Take a big breath in, and exhale with the movement as you roll back up, one vertebrae at a time. Stacking those vertebrae like Lego blocks to go back into an extension. Inhale, reach towards the sky, find that prayer position, come back down. Again, following the hands with the eyes, drop the arms, keep the head down. We're rolling down again, really feel that articulation through that spine. And we're going to hug the shoulders and gently sway side to side. Feel that stretch moving around the lower back. And drop the arms as you inhale. Exhale, soft knees, rolling up. We're going to go again. And this time we're going to walk ourselves out into a high plank. Press up position, finding prayer position. Coming down through that exhale. When you roll down and find that stretch in the hamstrings, you're going to bend the knees, find the floor with the hands, walk out to a strong high plank, hands beneath the shoulders, find it, grip it. Inhale. Exhale, walk back in towards those feet. Drop the head, and we're going to roll back up. Always starting through that extension up to the sky. And exhale back down. I'm going to do exactly the same thing. Rolling down. And find the floor, walking out. Find that plank, hold it. And gently drop the right knee down. And the left. And sink the bum down to the heels, keeping the hands stretched forward into child's pose. Deep breaths. Relax into it. And we're going to come back up onto all fours. Now this is where we really want to make sure that we're in alignment. So shoulders above hands, hips above knees. And we want those hips to be about stacked over the knees, knees about hip width apart. And from here we're going to step back out into our high plank position. One foot and the next. And I want you to imagine that I'm stood behind you, taking one of your feet away off the floor. It's pulling away. So it's not lifting with the bent leg and it's not floppy, it's activated. Through that leg, point those toes and down, changing sides. Moving with the breath. And one knee down, second knee down, and rest. Coming back up when you're ready. We're going to do the same thing, but we're going to layer it up. So on the exhale, take the left leg away, push that floor away, suck the knee in so it comes in between the elbows. Take it back out to the starting position and down, changing sides. And one more on each leg. Grip that core. And one more on the right. And down, drop those knees. And child's pose, relax. Now we're going to move on to do the same thing. We're going to repeat 6 times on one leg and then 6 times on the other leg. So you really want to make sure you're moving with precision and you're moving with control. So we're not going too fast, we're not wobbling, we're controlling that movement the whole way. So back onto all fours. Exhale, take one step out. Second leg to meet. Left leg up and away, sucking it in. Inhale away, exhale in. So you're moving through the same line of motion. You're not tilting, you're not twisting, you're gripping the whole time. 2 more. And the whole time that leg is switched on. Last one. As you move through the motion, place it down. Knees down, reset, exhale to go again on the other side. Right leg up, push that floor away, squeeze it in. Keeping moving with that breath. And 3 more. Letting yourself move with the breath rather than trying to make the breath fit around your movement. And down. And release into child's pose, stretch those arms forwards. And quickly moving on to the side. We're going to start off in this position that I like to call the mermaid position, but it's not technically. You're going to have the feet together and the hips stacked as if you're sitting like this, so the soles of the feet are in line with the bum onto your side. Hand placed in line with the hip. This top hand, just bring it to the hip, this top leg. You're going to take straight and you're going to extend the bottom leg slightly further away. And we're going to go into a full side plank. So imagine that somebody's got a hoist wrapped around your waist and is pulling you all the way up to the ceiling. Big breath in, exhale, up into a side plank, and inhale, bring it down. Exhale, up, inhale, down. Now we're going to take the arm up on the next one and we're going to thread it through and back, whilst all holding this nice and steady. Big breath in, exhale, up, and thread and twist, rotate in that waist, back to the front and down. One more, and twist, and down, and back down, and slowly moving yourself onto your back, rolling down through the spine, laying down. Realign everything, so make sure the shoulders are down, legs are hip width apart, feet are in line with the knees. We're going to pull the ribs down to the hips so you get a lengthening in that lower back. And on the exhale, squeeze one leg up to this tabletop position. So that's knee above the hip, shin parallel to the floor and the ceiling. Squeeze ribs to hips and bring that second leg up. Now starting, we're going to make sure we're moving from the hip. The angle behind the knee stays the same. You're holding a tennis ball, you're not dropping it, and you're not pushing it out. And you're just going to take the right leg down, tap that toe on the floor, and squeeze it back. And same with the left. Do one more on each leg, just to get used to this new movement pattern. And last one. Now we're going to move them at the same time. As the right leg comes up, the left leg's going down. So they're crisscrossing. You'll feel it pulling away from the core. That's why you want to make sure your angle at the knee is the same, so the weight's going away and you're not just dropping the feet down, which happens a lot. So you're making sure the weight is going away from the body. And slowly bring them to a stop. Inhale. Squeeze the knees and the feet together, and we're going to take them both down at the same time. Exhale down, poke the floor with the toes. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Now we're going to layer up. We're going to take the knees over the head and shoot the feet up to the ceiling. Shoot them up, catch it, roll back down. So you want to make sure you're working that lower core. Up, catch it, control it back down. Really working through the spine, every vertebrae at a time. Coming down through each vertebrae to tap those toes to shoot back up. And we're going to go for 2 more. Really try and get as much weight off the floor as you can and control it back down. Last one. And release the legs out, arms overhead, and go into a full body stretch as if I'm pulling the feet and the hands away from each other. And then using your momentum, just swoop yourself up, and we're all done.
Thank you so much, Caitlin. That was amazing. Definitely going to give that a try. We're now going to head back to Rachel, who is sat with Pam, and they're going to have a little chat about women against state pension inequality.
Thank you, Liv and Becky. I'm really grateful to today to have this opportunity to talk about something that I'm really passionate about, and also to meet my friend Pam, who I've not seen for a long time. I first came across the Waspies in 2017 and felt a real injustice about women who were born in the 1950s who have seen years of their pension taken away from them. And as a younger woman who doesn't have a pension and who is also freelance, it started making me question about my own future and how this is a topic that all women should be interested in because it's going to affect all our lives at one point or another. Another thing that's really struck me when I became more aware of the Waspie women is how we all know Waspie women. We see them working in retail and working in difficult jobs when they feel they should have had their retirement, and it's really important that we hear women like Pam speak out about their experiences and the activism that they're having to undertake as pensioners to bring this to light. So Pam, would you like to tell us a little bit about your experience and how you became a Waspie woman?
Right, well, I had a pretty weird life, but what people have to remember is that a few years ago it wasn't like it is now. We didn't have the rights that women have now. It's not that many years ago a woman couldn't get a mortgage on her own. She had to have her husband do it. Women were house owners, they were housekeepers, wives, mothers, daughters, looking after elderly relatives and juggling so many balls at once while the husband furthered his career and set up his pension pot. And I started work at 15 and worked full time. Only had a break for 2 children, straight back to work. No opportunities for private pensions, there was nothing, it's just work, work, work. But now the government are saying, well, you should have prepared for this, you should have got your private pension. We wasn't allowed. You know, they've got to remember that things are changing all the time and we didn't have those opportunities. And when they said they were going to equalise the state pension age, fair enough. And I got notice that instead of 60, my pension age would be 62 years and 8 months. Fair enough. They're going to do it, fair enough. But what I didn't know was that in 2011, they decided, but didn't tell us, that they were going to accelerate this and move me to 66 without any notice. So at the age of 59, I found out I had to work another 6 years, which in a manual job, which many women have to do.
Where did you work, Pam, at that time?
At that time I was working at Tesco, pulling big cages of bottles of pop out and things, you know. We just can't do it and it's unfair. We're not against equality, we're against the way that it's been done. And the more I got into, I've never been interested in politics until this came to light, and it made me realise how it's affecting so many women. There's women destitute because of this. They're using food banks, they're selling their homes. One's turned to prostitution that I know of. And in this day and age, it shouldn't be. And what we've got to educate the younger generation to see what society's doing, because it's going to have a knock-on effect on them. And we've got to fight for them as well as ourselves. Obviously we're fighting for our pensions, but we're fighting for their rights, like the suffragettes fought for our rights.
How much money have you lost then, Pam, through the increase?
£50,000. Each 1950s born woman who's had to wait 6 years has lost just over £50,000 each, and there's 3.8 million of us.
And you've paid in your whole working life?
I've got 40 odd years paid in from the age of 15, yeah. And the annoying thing is as well that I can't claim benefits because the last 2 years, because my health was failing, I cut my hours down at work. So I went below the threshold. Now I rang up contributions. Have I got enough in for my pension? Yes. But I can't claim employment support allowance because I haven't got contributions in the last 2 years. but yet people that claim benefits get it. So I've ruined my body working, because it's not just work, it's graft, and now just put on a scrap heap.
I also want to highlight as well all the unpaid work you've done throughout your life, Pam, the family members that you've cared for,
Yeah.
elderly relatives that you've cared for, all unpaid work.
All unpaid.
You give your life to society, and
as a
through
lot
work
of
and as a
our
mother.
generation did, because that was, we were raised to do that. It was expected of us, and it's what we did. Like I said, we were juggling all these balls, and we were the carers of every generation around us, and it's just what we've done. And now there's just nothing. There's nothing for us.
And it's worth younger women realising as well that the pension is likely to increase to 68
and above.
And above.
And above. There's been a freedom of information thing got from somebody that said they intend to move it to 75. And that, I mean, how can any man, woman expected, I mean, landscapers, builders, Tesco workers like me, we're not all privileged with little office jobs that, you know, we can answer the telephone. They're hard graft. We haven't got the muscles, we haven't got we're not as quick, you know, and to me it's not rocket science. If they pensioned us off, it would release jobs for the younger ones that they're now saying, oh, there's so many young unemployed. So stop paying them benefits, pay us our pittance of a pension, and we'll put it back into the economy, because we'll spend it on our grandchildren. Plus we'll save for carers, for parents and for children, we'll look after grandchildren. And it just seems like they just want to kick us and kick us and kick us again.
Can you tell me a little bit about your activism as a WASPy woman and what you did to kind of like highlight the campaign?
Yeah. I tried to get a local WASPy group started in Doncaster, but to be honest there wasn't that much interest, because many people are happy to let the few do the work and not even come to meetings, but wanted to be kept in the loop, if you like. But to say there's there was, a lot of them have died. There was 3.8 million of us. If we all rose up, we could make a difference, but they won't. Because we're from downtrodden days. A lot, I've rebelled, but a lot don't rebel because it's not in their makeup.
Can you talk a little bit about the demonstration that you did at the DWP?
Oh, I loved it.
Because you're saying that I would say you're like a militant activist.
I would love to be.
Pam?
But nobody will join me.
You did tell us a little bit about what you did at DWP.
One of the groups decided that they would like to do a sit-in at DWP in London. I'm first there. We got dressed up in the WASPy gear, we had our placards, and it's hilarious really, because somebody got wind of it and they had riot vans waiting for us in London, where the meet-up was. We're a load of old grannies, you know, why do we need riot vans? It's just unbelievable. But we marched down to DWP. DWP's there, and on this side is another 3 riot vans. It's just hilarious. There were 2 security guards on the door, so we go towards it and then in. There were these 2 burly men. They didn't stand a chance against a load of old grannies with a passion. We got in.
Amazing.
We got in and we sat down in the foyer, because that one set of doors and then another set of doors. And I saw the police come in then. I thought, you're not getting me out, and I went and sat at corner. And of course, you'll have to leave here. No. We'll have to arrest you. Go on then. Go on. Arrest the granny. But to be fair, it was really empowering. But the police have a job to do, and they were doing it. But they were on our side, Rachel. They were going getting us cups of tea. You know, we're talking to them, and they've every sympathy with us, but they're not allowed to, you know, they've got a job to do. And even, we were there 2 hours, and of course we couldn't get up there because we were old and got rigor mortis. Then they were helping us up, bless them. They were so nice. But yeah, that was quite empowering. But people are reluctant to do things like that.
Do you feel like people need to become more active
Yeah,
in order for things to change?
Yes, and I think the younger generation need to open their eyes to what is happening to us, because it does have a knock-on effect on them and their families, their children. And they've got to learn to stand up and be counted, because otherwise we'll just get trampled on all over again. And it's just so sad. I would start a revolution if people would join me.
I'll join you, Pam.
Ah.
Thank you. That's amazing. You so inspire me, and I think one of the best things I did in 2019 was meet you and all the women in Doncaster, and even the small demonstrations that we did.
Yeah, we did.
Incredible.
That was good, yeah.
And yeah, if hopefully through watching this, other women maybe feel empowered to do something.
Please, please, please.
If you want to find out more about the WASPy campaign, they do have a website online, and maybe in the future, maybe we might get another group going here in Doncaster again. And please just get in touch with Doncapolitan if you want to know more.
Yeah, even if it's about the way the NHS are treated, because this has become a wider issue now than the pensions. You know, they're just kicking us down as working class, and to me that's bad. And the way they're treating as their pensioners, I'm not a pensioner, older people, they're just kicking them to the curb. Yeah, please, younger generation, open your eyes and see what's happening.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Rachel and Pam from WASPies, that's Women Against State Pension Inequality. I think that was really informative.
Yeah. And now we've got a really special treat. We're going to be joining Bipolar Abdul, the drag artist from Doncaster, who is going to answer some of your very important questions.
Hi, I'm Bipolar Abdul, and today I'm answering your problems.
Okay, hi Bipolar. My name is Jo, I'm 27. I'd like to ask, how do you pull in a pandemic?
Hi Jo, what a great question. How do we pull in a pandemic? Well, personally, I wouldn't know because I've got a partner at home. But from what my friends have told me, chatting back and forth online is fine. However, pulling, I think you're going to have to pull yourself.
Hi Bipolar, my name's Jenny. My question for you is, how can I get more attention during a work Zoom meeting?
Hi Jenny. Well, I don't know because I'm quite shy and retiring, as you can tell. But the work Zoom calls that I've been in, if I've wanted to make a statement, I've worn a large headpiece or a huge pair of glasses or no top.
Hi Bipolar, my name's Isabel. So my question is, how do I make my mask slutty but safe?
What a fab question, because we all love to look slutty and safe. To make your mask slutty and safe, I'd say you can grab some glitter, some cardboard, pipe cleaners, go mad in the craft cupboard and structure a ball gag over the top. Or alternatively, just wear the mask.
Hi Bipolar, my name's Paul, and my question for you today is, how can I empower my mum on Women's Day and ask her if I can borrow her best dress at the same time?
Hi Paul, what a lovely question. One of my favourite things to do for my mum in order to empower her is I'll take a big stack of post-its and sit down at a desk and write down every time in the last year that she's helped me or guided me through something. Fold them up, pop them in the jar and give them to her so that she can sit and look through and see that she's changed my life for the better year over year. And then you can turn around to her and say, I'd love to pay homage to you in a beautiful look. Can I please borrow your best dress?
Hi Bipolar, I'm a long-time fan. Just asking, when this is all over and done with, where can I come and see you?
Hi, oh, it's so nice to hear from all of my fans. When this is all over and you can come out again, then fluidity is going next level. I'm talking mega big. There's a new bar opening in Doncaster. It's called The Library, and it's going to be Doncaster's only LGBT bar. And we're going to start running fluidity from the club downstairs in there. It's going to be bigger, it's going to be better. There's going to be queens coming through from Drag Race. It's going to be absolutely insane. People are going to travel for this, so you need to get your memberships, because then you can queue jump. You get tickets a week early, I think, and you get 10% off your drinks on big events. So why not? It's £6 and it lasts you a lifetime. So that's all from me, but thank you very much for your problems and questions. If you see me in the club, please don't walk up to me and start telling me your problems then. You've had your chance. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for those words of wisdom, Bipolar. That was wonderful. Now over to you.
Up next, we're going to be speaking to Jules, who is a sex worker who works mainly on OnlyFans and is here challenging attitudes towards the sex work industry. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing really good, thank you.
Fantastic. Okay, it's fine. Don't be nervous. We've got this. Okay, so well, why don't we start with how you got into OnlyFans?
So basically, when the first lockdown started, I lost my job in sales. At the same time, my friend Runa started doing her OnlyFans and she inspired me. I thought I might as well give it a go myself and never really looked back since.
Okay, fantastic. And so you have got like 25,000 followers on Instagram at the moment. So was it hard to find your market, would you say?
It was quite hard at the beginning. I started out with only 500 followers. But I got a lot of help from the sex work community. Everyone's been really helpful, as well as Runa as well, who got like way more followers than me, and that's what got me to where I'm at today.
Fantastic, fantastic. Okay. Okay, so when you've sort of mentioned Runa Bites and the community, do you find that they're quite supportive, would you say?
Yes, very much so. Everyone's really helpful. Everyone's there to hype you up and give you a shout out if you need it, give you some tips.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. So with giving you shout outs and things like that, it's predominantly online, because OnlyFans is specifically an online forum that people can subscribe to. So would you say that with the pandemic and with people not being able to have any sort of physical intimacy, do you feel like OnlyFans has had such a massive success because it doesn't require any physical intimacy?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because of the lockdown and everyone being stuck at home, I feel like that's why OnlyFans blew up. Even celebrities jumped on it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's great because kind of it's becoming more and more normalised these days. So.
Yeah. Do you feel like it's safer? Because you don't actually have to be with anybody, it's just you, and you're quite in control of it, aren't you?
Yeah, it definitely does. Like when you do porn, let's say within an agency and stuff, you are not in control of it. It's kind of like where people are recording you, where doing OnlyFans, you are your own boss, you are your own producer and everything, and you can basically do whatever you want, whatever you're comfortable with. I think that's just great.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so with people who aren't familiar with OnlyFans, it's a website and the user can subscribe to an individual and then they can have access to all of the content. Is that correct?
Yeah, so it's basically kind of like Instagram, but you do have to pay a price for a subscription. You have your own like page, you have your own feed where you can post whatever you want, but then you also can put stuff in messages.
Okay.
So if let's say someone wants to buy your video, you can send it out in a message and lock it, and you earn more money for that as well.
Ah, okay. Yeah. I didn't realise. I actually didn't even know how it worked.
No, I know. And do you think, so you've done it, you know, during the pandemic, because you lost your job in sales and stuff, do you think it's something you will continue doing when restrictions lifted?
Oh yes, definitely. It gave me like a whole new career path. It gave me so much more confidence as well. I absolutely love doing it at the moment. I was always so insecure before I started it. Now I just feel like I'm really comfortable with it myself, and honestly it pays off well, and I just enjoy it, so I think I'm going to definitely stick with it.
That's so good.
Fantastic.
I mean, what are some of the things that have surprised you the most by it? Like, have you been particularly shocked by anything?
To be fair, it's what surprised me, it's how good the community is. A lot of women just supporting each other, where I didn't know that was always the case. I thought it was going to be something more like competitive, where it's not the case at all. Like, everyone's just there to help you out. What also surprised me is how much people's opinion change about you. A lot, mostly when it comes to men, they kind of think of you like a piece of meat at the beginning. It was quite hard, but yeah.
And do you feel like, because obviously this is saying that people's opinions of you online have changed, but do you think that any of your like relationships in the real world, have they changed? Has anybody's opinion of you changed in that way?
Yeah, I had situations where even my best friend at the time had a boyfriend. Her boyfriend told her she's not even allowed to be friends with me anymore.
Really?
It's been crazy, to be fair, but the people that stuck by me, I can tell they are the real ones, and the other ones, you know, trash took itself out. So.
I love that. Amazing. Okay, so thank you so much for coming in and talking to us. I think you've changed, definitely sort of, not any negative preconceptions I had, but I definitely feel like I've learned a lot from you. So thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much to Jules. That was really good to catch up. Now we're going to travel back in time to when it was warmer and brighter, and we're going to speak to Lindsay.
Lindsay, welcome. How are you doing?
I'm all right, cheers. How are you?
Fantastic. Not too bad, not too bad. So, so I followed you for nearly a year, I'd say, about now. And you're only 23, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we were just saying about how confident you are, and I was saying when I was 23, like I was really insecure and watered myself down a lot. Whereas with you, you're just so like, you very loud, very vibrant. Where does that come from?
I think possibly it comes from like, so at school, with having to be like a smaller version of myself, being a more retained version of myself. It meant that like as soon as I got the opportunity to be Lindsay and be unapologetically Lindsay, I went with it, because I spent so many years trying to be more palatable, trying to be more acceptable. So I was just kind of like, at this point, I no longer care. Like, I've got to be who I am.
Yeah.
And live that way, like, and that's kind of it, really.
Yeah.
How did it start then? So I was just asking you earlier, weren't I? It's like through Instagram, and then it just grew. What was the process?
So at first it was like an online diary. That's always what I've said. So growing up, there was very minimal people like me. So there was larger bodies, but they were always very palatable larger bodies, and larger bodies that would wear flowers and pretty clothes and things that would make them for society, where they could accept them easier and wouldn't be very loud about their size. And they'd use words like chunky, larger, bigger, fluffy. And I didn't relate to that. I was fat, I am fat, that's my body type, and I'm okay with that. So I wanted to talk about the fact that it's not that I'm the problem because I'm fat, it's how society treats my body. And I started talking about that, and loads of people related, and it just grew and grew and grew, and here we are.
Oh, sorry, Liv, were you going to say something? I was just going to, what was the aim, like at the start? Like, did you go in with it as a sort of like, right, I'm going to go out and be myself to encourage other people, or what was the aim behind it?
At first it was literally an online diary. Like, it was like, I'm going to talk about the things that I feel that have affected me because I am larger. And then when people started listening, I was like, I can utilise this in the sense that we can make a difference, in the sense, like, that sounds so, you know, but we can make a difference in the sense that people can see us differently, and that we don't have to be, because I'm larger doesn't mean that I have to be, every other attribute needs to be quiet or easier for people to understand. I just happen to live in a larger body, and society treats us badly, and I was like, that's not okay. And that was more the aim with it, for people to understand that I just exist and I happen to be fat. Like, that's okay.
So you're sort of focusing on like tackling fat phobia, and we're saying with the Instagram following, it's like 19,000 followers now. Do you get much feedback from the sort of community for people who are maybe earlier on in their journey?
I think maybe not as much as I did when I first started, because I was more at that stage where people believed they could relate to me. I always try and stay, you know, myself, and I like to think that I am quite raw, and, you know, it is me that you see. I'm no different in person. But I do get like things like, I wore a skirt today that I'd never wear before. And like, that means the world. Like, I challenged my family on an opinion they had about me. I went into the doctors and demanded that I got healthcare. Like, I broke my ankle, that's not because I'm fat. Like, that kind of attitude, that's what makes a massive difference to what I do. Like, that makes it worth it. Somebody wearing a skirt that they'd never wear before, like, just wear the skirt, wear the outfit, wear the print. You don't have to wear flowers because you're fat. Like, it doesn't hide you anyway, so just wear what you want.
Yeah. It's huge for somebody, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, stuff like that, it's like you would just think, oh, so you've worn a skirt, but actually that's a massive step in somebody's journey to becoming more comfortable and
with who they are.
That, yeah.
Like, there used to be a joke when I first started, like, that everybody just started tucking the clothes in because I took everything in. And they were all like, I've done that because of Lindsay, I've tucked in because of Lindsay. And, like, I wear clothes that express who I am as a person. I wear T-shirts with slogans on because they say things that maybe I couldn't have said before. Yeah. So when people say that they've worn a certain item, like, I know how that feels to them. Yeah. And that's good. Like, society has this perception that larger bodies should hide away, and obviously I'm definitely against that. Yeah. So when other people realise that about themselves, then it is definitely worth it.
Yeah. I was saying with the slogans, I think I've seen one of them that you've got, and it says you're skinnier than me, not prettier than me, and I just love that. I love the attitude behind it. I mean, do you wish that you had someone like you in your life when you were a bit younger or earlier?
Yeah, I do, but I feel that I made that space for myself and that's okay. Yeah. Because reclaiming that word fat and making that space for myself enabled me to be who I am now. Yeah. And with you're thinner than me, not prettier than me, when I wear that, obviously there's a lot of controversy around that. But if you actually think about what I'm saying, it logically makes sense. I'm not saying that a thinner person is uglier than me. I'm saying that literally just because you happen to be thinner doesn't mean that I happen to be ugly or less attractive. We are on par. It's not a case of my body type's less attractive, your body type's less attractive. It's just a case of that I should hold that space in society where I am deemed and considered attractive, and that is okay.
Yeah. No.
What of the sort of have you come across any sort of barriers, challenges as you've been growing and like getting this community together and empowering people? Like, what sort of challenges, if there is any?
I get slated a lot, of course I do. Like, social media, because it's out there and people can see you constantly, and obviously I'm quite public. I get messages constantly telling me that, like, I'm the reason that people die young, that I deserve to die young, that I'm repulsive, ugly, vile, that I'm the problem with society. Like, I get that constantly. Like, literally 2 days ago I saw a 6-page thread about how awful and repulsive and ugly I was, and that's just like a constant thing. But I had that at school, I'll have that now, and I'll probably have that forever. But if that means that somebody else can live happily and exist, like, I'll take it. I'll take it over and over again. It doesn't mean that I can always cope with it, but I will continue to take it.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question, actually. How do you manage to sort of, I don't know, maybe protect yourself from something like that?
Cry. I cry a lot. But I'm very open with that. I'm open that things bother me. Yeah. And then some days I can just roll with it and get on with it. Yeah. But it depends on where my headspace is. Yeah. I've got like a close community of people that I will speak to and talk to about it. But I have to be really aware that if I'm putting that energy onto other people, that I'm getting abuse because of my size, then I'm reiterating that argument that it's okay, even though I'm not saying it's okay. I'm saying, like, this is what could happen. Yeah. So I'm trying to avoid having that conversation so much now.
Of course.
And I'll just take it as much as I can.
Yeah. God.
That's I don't know how to word it, but it's quite shocking, isn't it? Like,
it's horrific.
But nice that you're so open that it's like, I cry, because it's like, it's not going in with it with the idea of like, well, it doesn't bother me, I don't care. It's like, no, you're a human being, you have feelings, these horrible things you're saying are cruel, and they have this effect on me, and it's just having that support network around you, isn't it?
Yeah, like, I think at least once a month I think about stopping it all. Like, that's the reality of it. And then people will misconceive that as, oh, woe is me, you're fat. If you're not happy being fat, don't be fat. And that's not what I'm saying. I'm not happy with how society treats my body. I'm not happy with how people perceive my body. And that's why I do it. Because if I'm happy physically and I exist happily in myself, and society is the problem, why shouldn't I try and correct that?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Definitely. And so you've done a lot of charity work yourself. You do Sesh on the Sofa with your sister.
Yeah.
How did you get into doing that?
So in lockdown, I did a burlesque show. So I'm a producer. I've stage managed for 5 years. And then I started producing just as we went into lockdown, so that were great. And I did Big Fat Burlesque, and then me and my sister were like, we can do something similar and we can raise money for charity. So we did Sesh on the Sofa, and it went really well. We raised over £1,600 for charity.
That's incredible.
We had Janice Robinson on. When we booked her, we couldn't believe that she said yeah. And then we did a second one at Christmas time, and we raised over £1,000, I think, then as well.
Yeah.
And it was just something to, my community is very much online.
Yeah.
So that was a way for me to stay like connected with them. And because it wasn't a ticketed event, it was accessible for all. Like,
it was on Instagram Live,
yeah,
wasn't it?
and that was what we wanted to do, give something in the sense that, like, we're literally just on our sofa, you'll be on your sofa, like, we'll enjoy it. If you want to give any money to charity, you can do.
Yeah.
And it went really well.
Yeah, it's a nice personal setting, that, isn't it? You sort of
it's
feel like
easy.
you're part of it as
Yeah.
well, if you're just sat doing the same.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Like, have you got an idea of like what you want to do in the future? Have you got what's next? Where's your sort of goal to end up?
So in regards to my activism, I want to create like a group of activists where we can tackle more issues rather than just fat phobia. But like, the activists have got to be on a level, they've got to be of an understanding, and we can learn from each other, and like things that I'm not so educated about I can learn, and they're not so educated about they can learn. And I wanted to start like something similar to a policy, I don't know how to go around it, for businesses and corporations to say that they don't stand for any kind of discrimination, and I'm talking any kind of discrimination.
Nice.
So that's where I want to go with that, and also I want to full-time activism and full-time my Instagram, essentially. So I've managed to go down to part-time now.
Oh wow,
so
fantastic.
yeah, that's a massive step. So hopefully I'll be able to go to full-time soon.
Yeah, brilliant.
So good to talk to you about and hear your like what's going on in the mind of the person creating it all.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, definitely. I'm following you, and I think I've definitely learned a lot from you about it. Like, because I think as well before it was about Airbnb, there was a thing with that I saw you doing, and I had no idea about sort of the things that you have to deal with every day.
Yeah,
and
that's why Airbnb was so poignant, in the sense that within 48 hours we got it delisted, but not only that, it was so poignant that people couldn't deny it.
Yeah.
And that's not that it's a good thing that it happened, but in the sense that that conversation was being put to the forefront because people couldn't deny that they were literally reading that nobody over 16 stone and nobody with eating disorders were allowed into a property. Like, you couldn't deny that that was happening.
Yeah.
That was
What the
listed.
hell?
Yeah, and Airbnb relisted it and then finally delisted it successfully within 48 hours.
And rightly so.
But yeah, so that was massive because it was bringing that conversation, and it was undeniable that that was happening.
Yeah.
Exciting to think of the future, like what I'm excited to watch.
Especially with this group of activists that you wanted to work with.
Yeah.
Kind of like a manifesto kind of for all of you. Because this is it, I was sort of talking to John, actually, who's here now. Hi, John. We were talking earlier and was saying about how one of the issues when you get into sort of, when you're tackling, like, say we've got so many different political issues, and for me, like, racism is my priority, and that's what I really want to tackle, whereas fat phobia is what you really want to tackle. And then sometimes you get into this sort of like difficult conversation where it's like, but which one are we going to prioritise right now? So for you, with what you're wanting to do with a group of activists, with everybody being on the same page, I think that it's...
And learning from each other.
Yeah, exactly, and
all
understanding what everybody's going through.
Yeah.
I think if you can get something like that, it'd be unstoppable, really.
Because we can never understand the lived experience of somebody else.
You can sympathise, you can't empathise, yeah.
So I think that's really important, because it's not just myself who suffers as a fat woman. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I recognise that, and other activists recognise that about the field that they talk about. but obviously we are activated in the position that we feel that we are discriminated against, which is okay, but as activists we can always do more.
Yeah, well, thank you, Lindsay, so much for coming. Your Instagram account is Rolling with Lindsay, is that correct? Cool.
Go follow it.
Yeah, go follow it. But yeah, thank you so much for coming in. Thank you for talking about everything. You've been fantastic guest.
Thank you for having me.
It's absolutely no problem.
Cheers.
Okay, so next up we've got an incredible female artist, Rumby, who has just released her new song Bloodline. So she couldn't be here today, so she has sent us in a video from her flat in Manchester.
And her single is available on all streaming services, I believe, so go and have a listen, it's fantastic.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Hi guys, my name is Rumby Taro and I'm going to be singing Bloodline, my latest single. Whenever you wake up, you question your worth. You get dressed and wear makeup, but still feel worse. Another day, just wondering how to keep pushing on. Well, as long as you're breathing, then there's a reason as to why you're here. There's been so much hurt that you've endured in your life. You've got to keep holding on, it's in your bloodline to survive. Everything you're facing right now, you can get through. There's a spirit of a fire living in you. There's been so much hurt that you've endured in your life. You've got to keep holding on, it's in your bloodline to survive. I know it feels right now, you got the weight of the world on your shoulders. You can get through this, you can get through this. I know it feels right now, you got the weight of the world on your shoulders. You can get through this, you can get through this, yeah. I know it feels right now, you got the weight of the world on your shoulders. You can get through this, you can get through this. There's been so much hurt that you've endured in your life. You've got to keep holding on, it's in your bloodline to survive. Now when you wake up, please don't question your worth. 'Cause as long as you're breathing, then there's a reason as to why you're here.
And that was the fantastic Rumby Taro singing her latest single, Bloodline. Again, that is available on all streaming services, so go and have a listen.
And just a quick reminder that today's focus has been to raise money for Doncaster Food Bank and Phoenix Women's Aid, two amazing charities that are local to us.
Yeah, they really are. And if you'd like to donate, the GoFundMe link can be found in the Instagram bio of every single woman who's taken part today. We want to say a huge thank you to everybody who took part, a huge thank you to Daisy Astell. We couldn't have done it without you. We'd like to say thank you to everybody who has donated or is going to donate in future.
And that's everything.
I think that's it. Also, thank you for ignoring the continuity errors. Have a fantastic, happy International Women's Day.